Road monkey like Fritos. Road monkey like Tab and Mountain Dew. Road monkey, very simple man, with big warm fuzzy secret heart. Road monkey like you. Road monkey like you.
Hey guys, what's up? It's me, the Meteoraptor, and I'm back with another episode of the Meteoraptor Reviews. Guys, if you remember a year or two ago, I reviewed a movie called Cult of Chucky. And I said it was a pretty good movie, all things considered. And about a couple months ago, we received a trailer for the newest Chucky movie. And I was pretty excited when I saw it. Not only because did it look awesome, but the title was really interesting and I wanted to know more about it. It seemed to be building up to this big release. And when I finally got a chance to see it, I wasn't disappointed. Yeah, I know I'm showing my hand early, but you know what? Let's talk about Cult of Chucky, the 2017 direct-to-video horror movie, and the 7th installment in the Child's Play franchise. Now, if you don't know Child's Play, we'll give you a quick refresher. A long time, 30 years ago, the original Child's Play came out. The story was about a serial killer named Charles Lee Ray who ended up using voodoo to possess a doll's body. From there, he wanted to try and possess a small boy's body because he was the first person he revealed himself to. From there, Chucky tried 2 more times to possess Andy, failed both times, and then he got hitched, had a kid, and around here people kind of lost interest for almost 12 years. See, Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky became horror comedies instead of just horror movies with slight bits of comedy. And a lot of people said they went way too far with the comedy. They said that they focused more and more on telling jokes than they did on killing people. On the one hand, that can work, but on this hand, they didn't do it right, and it really didn't work the way I think Don Mancini thought it would. So after a while, we got Curse of Chucky, which was a reboot of sorts. Well, sort of a reboot to the franchise, and it would sort of continue the movies, and it did pretty well. Now, one thing which the Child's Play movies have always kind of held pretty... I think this is the only horror franchise to ever hold this, aside from the Saw franchise, is there has been the same continuity through every single movie. There has been no retcons, there has been no reboots, there has been no, oh, that movie didn't happen. Every movie happened, aside from Seed of Chucky, I'll get to that in a minute. So Cult of Chucky is actually a direct continuation of Curse of Chucky. It takes place in a mental institution, which just leads to all sorts of awesome ideas that we could do, and the movie's smart enough to cash in on most of them. We have a schizophrenic woman who sees Chucky and believes that he isn't real, so it's just a schizophrenic thing. Nika, the main character in the last one, has been essentially therapized. I don't know what to say. She's been convinced that she killed her family and it wasn't Chucky. We have a guy who has multiple personalities, one of them being Mark Zuckerberg. It's weird. We have the doctors, of course, who don't believe her, but perhaps the biggest thing this movie had going for it was the fact that Andy would return, played by the same actor 30 years later. Now, I know he did show up at the end of Curse, but here he's back as a main character. And they actually do show you what happened after the events of Curse, because if you don't remember what happened in that, Chucky sent himself to Andy, he came up and then Andy had a shotgun, and the final shot showed the shotgun right at the screen, it fired and cut to black. And here, it shows half of Chucky's head has been blown clean off, and Andy has been torturing him ever since. That's creative and awesome. But you might be wondering, hang on then, how can Chucky be the killer if he's being tortured by Andy? Well, I'll get to that in a minute. So as the movie goes on, people start dying, and it plays this really great idea of psychological suspense of, is it really Chucky, or is it, is Nika just killing people or going insane, or like, what is going on? Now, the audience knows it's Chucky, but the characters actually do a really good job of both questioning reality while also fully believing it. It's an interesting twist. It's got that good psychological vibe to it. And Chucky has a lot more screen time than he did in Curse, which is really good because he didn't get enough in Curse. And so I'm going to go into spoiler territory now to explain some stuff, so when you see this, come back. But go ahead and mute. See, it turns out that Chucky figured out a voodoo curse to split his soul into multiple dolls. Yeah. So we have the original Chucky, which is now just a head that's being tortured by Andy. But we also have two other Chucky dolls, one of which is actually possessed, and one of them is just a doll, which Chucky then uses the spell to bring to life. And we end up with a third one, which is what the cult is made up of. 3 Chucky dolls all going around an asylum killing people. That is clever. That's the big twist, and you know what? It actually does kind of make sense. I liked it. I mean, as horror twists go, and like bringing in this totally new rule, apparently the killer can do this, that was a smart one, because it makes sense that he would eventually figure out different voodoo spells. Okay, and this movie did something right. It did the comedy right. It doesn't have like slapstick, it doesn't have movie references, it just has a couple lines here or there that are genuinely funny. One of which, spoiler alert again, so wait for this, happens after the 3 Chuckies have come to life. One of them has his hair shaved by Andy, because yeah, of course, he's gonna go in there and try and kill Chucky. But they're arguing over who gets to kill Andy, and all of a sudden he goes, hello? Look at my hair! And they're like, oh geez, yeah, sorry pal, right, you go kill him, have fun! And like, I remember watching that and genuinely laughing, because that was funny. So the movie is good at building suspense, it's good at building the characters as well. All the characters in this movie, all the mental patients, are likable, and they all have the unique quirk to them, which makes sense because they're all different mental problems, like such as schizophrenic, self-harming, multiple personalities. No, you shut up, dude. I'm not talking about you right now. And Nika, who's just probably insane. So I want to really talk about the ending. So I know I've been doing this, like the third time I've done the whole spoiler thing, but wait for this, hit mute. So in the end, the impossible happens. Chucky succeeds. Yeah, he possesses Nika, and Andy is locked in the institution. His wife shows up because Jennifer makes a couple appearances in this movie, and they drive off, showing the Tiffany doll in the back, who still has part of Jennifer's soul. So Chucky escapes. Also, one of the dolls that was alive didn't get killed. 2 of them were killed, one of them escapes. So not only has Chucky finally possessed someone and escaped, but a Chucky doll has escaped as well. That can be a great setup to so many amazing sequels. Now I know some people might have a problem with it, but to me, that's the kind of ending I would want after 7 movies. Because not only does it make you want to watch more, but it proves that they're not just going to keep rehashing the same idea over and over. Alright, so enough about the story. The story is really good, albeit have some flaws, such as, poor dialogue or predictable scenes. But to be fair, it is a horror movie, so you kind of expect a lot of that. Now let's talk about the acting. I'd like to say another thing which the Child's Play movies have done right, and this is something which most horror franchises have done right, is Brad Dourif has always played Chucky, and he is great at it. He's able to make him scary, intimidating, funny, and just crazy. And you can tell Brad Dourif is having the time of his life when he's playing Chucky. Nika, who is actually Fiona Dourif, she's Brad Dourif's daughter, does a great job playing Nika once again. All the mental institution patients do a really good job, kind of acting disturbed. Tiffany, or I don't remember if it's Jennifer Tilly or Tiffany. I can never remember which one it is. I'm pretty sure it's Tiffany. Does an okay job. For some reason, her acting seemed off compared to how she normally plays Jennifer Tilly. Maybe that was just me, but it kind of seemed off. Anyhow, the acting's it ranges from great to decent. Special effects are actually is kind of why I love this movie so much. The effects have just gotten even better from Curse of Chucky. I talked about how in Curse there were several shots of people dressed up like Chucky moving around when you were high above. There's none of that. Now it's all just puppets and robots, and it looks even better than the puppets and robots you saw in Curse of Chucky. And all the kills, most of them are practical, and they're really gory, and they're all done really well. My couple shout outs to the one with the drill, and to the one with the glass, and to the one with the knife. Like, there's a bunch of knife kills. They look really good. Now, I will admit that this movie atmospherically is a little weird because it's in an all-white hospital, so it seems kind of dull, but it also does kind of work with it being, like, it's weird because then when you see Chucky, you're like, on the one hand you think that's weird, seeing him out in the middle of bright white everywhere, but on the other side you're like, okay, that's kind of creepy when you think about it. The music has a really good sort of like playful horror vibe, I guess you could call it. It has what you would expect. And it's from the guy who did the Evil Dead music, so he has done music in horror before, and he knows what he's doing. So when it gets down to it, can I recommend Curse of Chucky? Yeah, I'm going to give it 3 raptor claws out of 4. It's a solid horror movie that has no right to be this good, both as a direct-to-video horror movie and as the 7th movie in this franchise. It shouldn't be this good, but it is. If you guys are longtime fans of the Child's Play franchise, you're going to love this one. If you haven't seen the originals, watch the first 3. Maybe you could pretty much go 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. You could watch the 5th. I liked the 5th, to be honest. I liked it, but hey, that's just me. It's weird, man. But to be honest, if you didn't watch the 5th, no big deal. If you jumped in at this one, I don't think it would be that big a problem. In fact, it would probably be a pretty good place to jump in on. But I can recommend it to old school horror fans, new school horror fans, new fans of Chucky, old fans of Chucky. I think everyone will at least find something they like. While the ending and certain plot points may be a bit of a jarring or may divide fans, I think there's more than enough to make this film a hit for everyone. And with that said, you guys, this has been the Media Raptor saying keep cool, and I will see all you dino dudes around. Later.